what was so what was so vindictive and ugly about Thaddeus Stevens? What was vindictive and ugly about Thaddeus Stevens is Thaddeus Stevens wanted to put down the former slave class and raise up the former slaves, and for that he's vilified. Here's James Truslow Adams. Thaddeus Stevens was, quote, perhaps the most despicable, malevolent, and morally deformed character who has ever risen to high power in America. Well, Thaddeus, there's a reason why a lot of people to this, don't know anything about Thaddeus Stevens, and if they do know something about him, they sort of perceive him, in a bad way. And one could go down the list. And so, why revisit? I want to revisit because I think that there have been many mistaken judgments made about people. And I want to essentially, in my own little way, try to right intellectual errors that have been made. Intellectual errors, moral errors, political errors. Yeah.
Hey. I think the title's okay. I couldn't use it. You can. You should. Right? I think one person who might object to it, though, would be Thaddeus Stevens himself. It wasn't the Charity Butler case that made him a good man. He was already a good man. He was a good man who, as he moved south in latitude, came to include slaves in the circle of people for whom he felt deeply. But he felt very deeply about very many people before that. Yeah, you had a club foot. His brother, born before him, had two. His mother was abandoned, did all the farm work. They were as poor as you could have gotten in Vermont in those days. He came to Dartmouth, did brilliantly, was not inducted into Phi Beta Kappa because of his deformity. And his entire life was spent championing people from meanness. I think he was at the time of the...
Was it championing people?
From meanness. I mean,